Hi, this is Tanja, and today I'm going to share some tips on how you can use real estate to grow wealth. For most persons, the home in which they live in will make up the large portion of their net worth. And many don't actually see that asset as an asset, but just the home that they live in. If you If your home is going to be where most of your money is tied up, then there are ways in which you can make certain that that asset is working for you, or there are ways in which you can be able to use that asset to build wealth for yourself and your family. Tip number one, start with a starter home. And I know starter homes don't actually cost what they used to cost many years ago. Actually, a starter home now in some countries is at the range of between 400 to even 500,000 for a starter home in some countries. However, I still do believe that starting with a starter home is a really good option for many persons, and also something that persons who really want to grow wealth should think about. I've had the opportunity to speak to many persons who've been very successful over the years, and many of them who started from the beginning, who started from scratch with no help, no assistance, and also many of them who grew their wealth from 9 to 5 jobs. And I will tell you that one of the common denominators that I find is that many of them actually started with starter homes. Now, I'm not saying that persons who did the first big bill for themselves and their dream houses aren't able to grow wealth. And the way that they have been able to do it is by making certain that not only did they build a home, that they actually add apartments or some means of additional revenue to help defer the costs. However, what I'm saying is that for those persons who have grown significant wealth, who started from zero, I have seen them do that with starter homes. They started at a young age. Even for the ones who didn't start at a young age, what they did is that they pushed a lot of effort behind paying off that first mortgage. And many of them were able then to go on to build additional homes. And I know some of them who have actually been able to go on to build or buy apartments and have been able to use that additional real estate to really increase their net worth. Starter homes actually do serve a purpose. There are many benefits to having a starter home. Just a few years ago, I was having a conversation with someone who was looking to embark on their first real estate investment, their first home. And my question to them was, are you building a house for your current self, or are you building a home for your future self? And a lot of times people have, big ideas about what they want their life to look like in the next few years, whether they want to embark on a family or maybe even have an additional space where they can work from home or to do some type of hobby. And they think that they need to do all of that in the beginning. When the thing about it is that they're not yet quite there. So what they're doing is expensing themselves or spending money on a future version of themselves that they're not even sure they're going to get there, or they're not even sure that eventually they will want to get there. But at the same time, they're doing it on their current salary. And that is one of the reasons why people end up house poor, because they've really gone out and built houses that their current self actually cannot afford. So I would encourage you to start with a starter home. There are many, many benefits to starting with a starter home. Tip number two, down payments. Yes, yes, yes. I know you can actually get loans or 100% mortgage, but we all know where those loans ended up in 2008 and 2009. We knew what happened with those. And while there are some persons who will shout from the rooftop that a 100% mortgage was very beneficial to them because they would not have gotten on the property market without it, there are twice, 3 times, or 4 times as many persons who have financially ruined themselves from 100% mortgages. The thing with a 100% mortgage is that you have not given yourself any space between you defaulting and your home being repossessed. The thing with a down payment is that a down payment is your commitment to wanting to grow wealth. A down payment is your commitment to yourself, to your family, whoever your house is for. A down payment is actually that commitment to good financial habits. And in order for you to make that down payment, you're going to have to sacrifice, you're going to have to save money, which means that you are forced to create good financial habits in order for you to be able to secure the amount to make that down payment. We live in a fast world. We live in a world where you can just get things no. But that doesn't mean that it's always the right thing for you. I want to encourage you to make certain that you are putting aside money for that down payment. The thing with the down payment, whether it's on a house or even on a car, is that you are already ahead. What you're doing is that you're making certain that your monthly payments are not the absolute highest that they could be. You are reducing that monthly payment because you've saved up front. You are also saving money in the long run. By going for a 100% mortgage, you are signing up for all the interest. When you do a down payment, what you're doing is eliminating years of interest. So I encourage you, save your money, create good financial habits, and make that down payment. Also, if you make a down payment that is actually more than the average down payment, let's say of 10%, but you commit to making 15 or 20%, then you are well on your way. And I know that this may sound even more wild to some persons, but if you make a down payment of 25% on any loan that you are seeking, then you are way ahead of the game. Tip number 3, look after your investment. And what do I mean by that? Keep your house in a saleable state. If you've looked up the definition of an asset, you will see that one of the things about an asset means that it is supposed to be kept in a saleable state. As an accountant or anyone who's in the accounting profession, you know that assets come under different categories on your balance sheet. And you have those assets which are available for sale. And one of the key things in having assets that are deemed to be assets available for sale and in the good condition is that they must be kept in a condition that can be sold tomorrow. If you've been living in your house for quite a few years, but you've not made any updates or you've not kept it in a good saleable condition, meaning you've not done any power washing, you have not repainted any little spots that need to be touched up, you have not put back up that little trimming on the outside that, fell off, the fence is broken, and those type of scenarios, then what is happening is that the value of your asset is actually depreciating and not appreciating as it should be. To have a saleable asset means that you can put it on the market in the current condition it's in tomorrow, and that you'll most likely be able to get it sold. So if you want to keep your asset in a good state, you want to make certain that that investment is going to continue to work for you. You have to look after your investment and keep it in a saleable position. Tip number 4, be at least 1 month ahead of your mortgage. Yes, I know the climate that we're living in. I've done a previous video where I spoke about how you can actually build an emergency fund or how you can get ahead at least 1 month on your bills. And you can go back and watch that video. But basically what he's saying is that you don't necessarily have to have all the money one time for that emergency fund. You can start by creating an emergency fund per one bill. So your electricity, you'll be able to put aside something that you will be 1 month ahead of that. And eventually you'll be one head above all of your bills and your mortgage included. So in trying to make certain that you're one head of your mortgage, what it does is that it gives you breathing space. The same way that you have some breathing space with the down payment, you'll have some breathing space, making certain that you're 1 month ahead. The other advantage to that as well is that sometimes your repayment date for mortgages or for any loans may actually be after your payday. And there are circumstances sometimes where persons get paid late. And if you have a payday, let's say that is the 28th, but your mortgage is due on the 26th, and make certain that that's something that you're checking on when you actually sign your mortgage deal, then you're always going to find yourself in trouble. There's going to be that anxiety as to what happens if my money doesn't hit the bank in time, what happens if I'm paid late, what happens if there is a mix up with the bank and for some reason my salary goes to somebody else's account and we're working to get it back. And there are just a lot of possibilities in between there, where if you are 1 month ahead on your mortgage, then it gives you a little bit more breathing room. Also, by being 1 month ahead of your mortgage, or even if you are 2 or 3, what you are actually doing is cutting into that interest rate. There are, again, some mortgages where you'll be penalized for paying off the mortgage ahead of time. But it is always a good thing, whether or not it's a mortgage or another loan, to pay some bit of extra to help reduce that mortgage interest or reduce that loan interest. Also, there are some banks which will actually allow you to put in a lump sum per year on your mortgage to help reduce it faster. So if you have one of those mortgages, then saving a little something on the side and being able to do that in the year will also see that interest being reduced and you paying off your mortgage ahead of time. Tip number 5, do not take out equity loans on your investment. There are many reasons why people do it. And a lot of times it's due to consumerism, or it is that they're looking for money to fund something like a new business, which also isn't a great idea. And maybe I can go into more details why that isn't a good idea in another video. But if you have an asset that you're already securing yourself with it, as in your home, and you go and you take out an equity loan on it, whether or not you've already finished paying off for that mortgage, then what is happening is that you are not only putting yourself back in more debt, but you're also securing that loan at a higher interest rate, because equity loans are going to be at a higher interest rate than your mortgage. I know that they may be lower than, let's say, a personal loan or maybe even a business loan, and that's why it may be attractive to persons to do that. But if you are doing that, then what you're doing is that you are also tying that asset to the business, and if the business does fail, then you're not only losing your business, but you're in jeopardy of losing your home. So that's the number one reason why that isn't a good idea. But also, if you're taking out these equity loans for consumer purposes, like let's say to travel, you're creating a loan that there is no asset tied to, or where the asset is not increasing in value. Let's say if you wanted a loan to put solar panels on your home, and you had already done the homework and you already knew what the financial benefits would be, then that was something that would actually increase the value of the overall asset. But if you were taking that money to go on a big birthday treat or travel, or as I said, even a business, then there's no value added to that particular asset. There's no value added to the home. So that's the reason why taking out equity loans on your home is not necessarily a good thing. Of course, there are persons who will do that for medical reasons, and that's one of those things that when it gets to that point, if you need to secure the equity in your home for life-saving treatments, by all means, you're going to do that. But for general things in terms of consumerism, it's not a good idea to do that. I hope that these tips that I've just shared with you have allowed you to be able to see your home as just not a dwelling in which you live in, but it also allows you to see that as your biggest investment, and that you will make decisions to see that investment grow. Once you are able to secure that first home and you're able to do it with the right financial habits, then you are able to use the tactics that you've used from that first one to be able to create another investment property for yourself, or to be able to use that funds in which you've been saving to be able to embark on other investment opportunities. You can grow wealth. You can grow wealth with real estate, even if you are using that real estate as a dwelling home. And I hope that these tips will show you that you can do that.